You are listening to KLRN Radio, where liberty and reason still reign.
Ready to stand out, Army ROTC prepares you not only as a college student, but as a strong leader, allowing you to earn the rank of second lieutenant. You will be eligible for full tuition merit-based scholarships and develop leadership skills essential for your future. Start strong and enhance your college experience. Visit your campus Army ROTC representative today. To find out how you can earn up to a full tuition scholarship, visit goarmy.com/podcast to locate your closest ROTC program today. Army officers inspire, strengthen others. Paid for by the United States Army.
At the LASIK Vision Institute, we know LASIK is a big decision, and every one of our patients is unique. That's why we customize your LASIK journey to you.
I only have a certain budget.
No problem. Right now at the LASIK Vision Institute, get 20% off LASIK when treated in April. That can be over $900 off when treating both eyes, plus guaranteed financing options. So visit GetLVILASIK.com today to start your journey towards 20/20 vision. Must mention this promotion and be treated in April of 2024 to qualify. 20% off standard price of wave light procedure. Cannot be combined with any other offers. Go to GetLVILASIK.com for details. At the LASIK Vision Institute, we know LASIK is a big decision, and every one of our patients is unique. That's why we customize your LASIK journey to you.
I'm so busy right now.
We offer a mix of convenient days and times, including 30-minute virtual appointments to fit your schedule.
I would love it, but I have astigmatism.
We treat thousands of patients with astigmatism every month with great outcomes. The LASIK Vision Institute is making your journey towards 20/20 vision all about you. So visit GetLVILASIK.com today to start your LASIK journey.
Hi, everyone. This is JJ, the co-founder of Good Pods. If you haven't heard of it yet, Good Pods is like Goodreads or Instagram, but for podcasts. It's new, it's social, it's different, and it's growing really fast. There are more than 2 million podcasts, and we know that it is impossible to figure out what to listen to. On Good Pods, you follow your friends and podcasters to see what they like. That is the #1 way to discover new shows and episodes. You can find Good Pods on the web or download the app. Happy listening.
Hi, I'm Mike, founder of DollarShaveClub.com. What is DollarShaveClub.com? Well, for $1 a month, we send high-quality razors right to your door. Yeah, $1. Are the blades any good? No. Our blades are f***ing great. Each razor has stainless steel blades, an aloe vera lubricating strip, and a pivot head. It's so gentle a toddler could use it. And do you like spending $20 a month on brand name razors? 19 go to Roger Federer. I'm good at tennis. And do you think your razor needs a vibrating handle, a flashlight, a back scratcher, and 10 blades? Your handsome-ass grandfather had 1 blade and polio. Looking good, pop-up! Stop paying for shave tech you don't need. And stop forgetting to buy your blades every month. Alejandro and I are going to ship them right to you. We're not just selling razors, we're also making new jobs. Alejandro, what were you doing last month?
Not working.
What are you doing now?
Working.
I'm no Vanderbilt, but this train makes hay. So stop forgetting to buy your blades every month and start deciding where you're going to stack all those dollar bills I'm saving you. We are DollarShaveClub.com, and the party is on.
I know karate, I know jiu-jitsu, I drive like a gangster when I'm coming to see you, see you.
The following program contains coarse language and adult themes. Listener discretion is advised.
And welcome to another episode of The Cocktail Lounge. I am your hostess with the mostest, Aggie, and with me as always is the ever suave, affable, and quaffable co-host of mine, Brad Slager. How are you doing this evening, Brad?
I'm good enough. I'm tired. I've had a day. I've been at it since pretty much the go until just now.
You know, I know you're tired simply because you've been cheering all weekend long about your hockey team. That's why
there was
you're
that too.
tired.
I've been,
You've been partying. That's why.
I've had the days where we, watching like 4 games in a row, and then Saturday we had the Panther game. Went out to do a watch party for that. Took the grandkid with because he was getting excited about the playoffs. And
Of
then
course.
like halfway through, he's like, "We should go ice skating tomorrow." It's like, okay, yeah, we should. And then he actually took me up on the offer. So like I get a phone call at like noon. It's like, "So, Papa, what's up?" I was like, "Nothing. What are you calling me for? What's going on?" It's like, "So did you want to go skating?" I was like, "Oh, that's right." It's like, "Yeah, we're leaving in 45 minutes." Okay, and so we did. And now, yeah, I mean, it's ice skating's great. It's a really enjoyable, fun time to find out how old you are.
It's exercise. It's real exercise. A lot of people underestimate skating, both ice and rollerblading and roller skating. They just think because you're gliding along, but it's exercise.
I mean, I haven't actually been on a sheet in about 7 8 months, maybe something like that. And he's just starting out too, so I've spent a lot of time just kind of keeping up with him and such. And then his mom would start drifting with him, so I would go around and do a lap and catch back up. And then at the end of it all, I was like, son of a bitch, I'm kind of winded already. And then I was like, how much time we got? Oh, another hour. I was like, oh, do we?
Oh, yay.
I came back, I felt okay, but then the next morning, it's like, geez, why do the inside of both of my legs feel like I've been riding a bull? Well, that's right.
I'm sure that I'm sure that you were feeling it for a while.
Yeah,
if not still.
Just a little muscle memory. That's all. I haven't been out there in a while. Got to get that worked back up. But no, it's a good time of year right now. It's the second season, and been enjoying things. And last night the Panthers wrapped up the first round, so we're moving on. And I'm currently watching Boston Toronto to find out who we play next. Hopefully Toronto wins tonight, because then that's a longer period of time for us to rest and recuperate.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's inevitable. We're probably going to be facing the Bears. And once that begins, of course, Mike is dead to me.
Oh, my goodness. Well, I have a small confession to make. I've always wanted to do so, but I've never actually gone ice skating. I've had the opportunity. I've been very leery of it. I do roller skate. I mean, roller skating, growing up in the late 70s, early 80s, roller skating was the thing. Skateland. You went to Skateland and you were there rolling around for 3 hours, and then you went home and you were exhausted, and it was great. But I've never actually done ice skating. And my sisters all have. And my sister number 2, she's really good at it. She's always been a really good roller skater. So she took to ice skating really well. And she has offered, but I've always been skittish because I'm so afraid of falling on the ice. I don't mind falling on concrete, mind you. I don't mind falling on wood. I don't mind falling on... It's ice. I mind falling. I really mind it. I don't know.
Well, it's
why.
actually a little more forgiving, because unlike the others where you just go straight down, if you're falling on ice, it's more of a glide and a slide, so it absorbs some of it if you fall correctly. So it's not as bad, I'll say. But I just if you roller skated, you'll pick it up. It's just a little different though, because you don't have as wide a foundation. You're standing on top of blades, obviously, and that takes a little getting used to. You got to get them. Your ankles have to adjust.
And technically, you're not standing on one blade per foot. You're standing on 2 blades per foot. So, so that's kind of.
It's just you just got to get a feel for it, and eventually you will. I mean, if you've roller skated before, then at least you've got your center of gravity and balance for the most part. And then it's you got to keep keep them from sliding out from under you first, and then you find your edge and start to go a little bit. And that's why I was working with the boy for most of the day too. And it was just like, pizza, French fries, pizza, French fries. That's what they always tell the kids. He was starting to get it, and then I was like, you know what? Let's get you off the wall. Like, that's your best thing. And then after a while, he was starting to move a little better. I was like, okay, there you go. Cool. Great. The problem is you go on the weekend, and they have two things for kids out there. They're either it's like a preform, it's, I guess, a stage, or it's almost like a barricade. They hold on to it while they're skating to keep their balance up. The other thing they've got that's a novelty, it looks like a seal or a dolphin where the kid sits on it and the tail comes up and the parents or friends can push them. So these damn things are all over the ice. And
I've seen the walkers, but I've never seen those.
Yeah, it's a variation. So for smaller kids, and then the parents can kind of let them get used to having skates on and such. But
it's funny because when I was learning to do roller skating, my parents took us to Skateland and they rented the skates and they said, "You're on your own." My parents were Gen X before they
pretty
were
much the best way to do it.
They were Gen X.
No, it's trial by fire or trial by ice in
Yeah,
this case. So.
yeah, that's true.
Now, we had a good time, though. It was very enjoyable. I haven't been out in a while, so even when I'm out there, too, it's like it took me probably about 5 minutes to just get the feel of it once again, just because I've been that long. But
and of course, this is a way to engage your grandson into the whole hockey experience as well.
Yeah, he's starting to get into it. So
yes, you need to have your acolyte.
My phone starts blowing up from him last night. He's like, "Chuck did it. We did it, man." You send him gifts and stuff. Like, there you go, son. Well done.
Wow.
But like, for some reason, the Miami Heat and the Panthers are playing at the same time. Like for the last 3 nights. And nobody can figure. It's like, can't one league figure out this is going on? Like people are getting pissed off about it. So
wow.
I was getting a text from them last night. It's like, what channel is the Panther game on? Because we're watching the Heat. We need to get that. So I was like, try this, try that. There's this option. And yeah, we're at a bar and, our place is packed because they're all hockey fans. I know, right? Spoiler alert. But our place is just, it's a Panther bar for the most part. It's just packed. And then you'll get these people strolling. It's like, oh, isn't the Heat game on? It's like, no, we watch men's sports. No, we could put one on. We got 20, so pick one, I guess, but not the big one, and you won't get sound. And they're like, oh, you guys watch it? Who watches hockey? It's like, spin the head. Everybody's in red and blue here, right? Figure it out. But that's a cool thing, at least. Everybody's there on the same page. Oh, geez. Pasternak is having a disagreement. Son of a bitch. Jeez.
Like, wait. Oh, that's right. You're watching the game.
Yes. Freaking Bruins.
So
it's just, this is a good time of year, though, because every game means something and everything is important and it's all just on edge. I cracked up, though, because, like, Matthew Tkachuk, probably my go-to player on the team. He's just, he's a perfect hockey player because he's a scorer. He puts the points up. He gets the goals, and he's ornery son of a bitch. He's just always in somebody's face after plays. And Panthers were getting jobbed this series. Like, we were out Thursday night. They had 1 power play the entire game, and I think Tampa got 6. It's like, you fucking zebras. Really? And after 4 games, I think the imbalance was something like 20-12 that Tampa had the advantage on power plays, which is damn ridiculous. And, finally last night it evened out a little bit, but we won the series. And I look at it, Matthew Tkachuk had 1 penalty the entire series, which made no sense.
Damn.
They're whistling us for everything. And the one obnoxious guy that everybody targets came away
skating free.
Mm-hmm. Somehow, but that's even better. So, yeah, it's just, this is really a fun time of the year because every game means something. Every series leads to something else. And we finally beat the Tampa Bay scumbags. They've just been they've been our rivalry, and we can never get by them, and we just kind of crap hammered them. It was really beautiful last night because the team, after the game, on their Twitter account, they just started to play the troll game a little bit, and they just put up this page. It looked like it was from FEMA or something. Best advice on how to survive a lightning. And then they put up a picture of our goalie. There you go. That's the way to do it. Stick that right in their fat face. But that's the way it works in the playoffs.
You're so enamored of this sport. It's fun to hear you. It really is.
That's my game. I just have we have fun doing it.
It's like you and Jeff and Mike should have like a round table one night, like just one night. All get together, just discuss hockey on KLRN. That'd be fun.
Yeah, except I'm not talking to Mike, so that's gonna be.
Oh my God. Whatever.
But there was some other big news for sports this weekend.
Mm-hmm. There sure are.
NFL draft. Well, I guess it technically kicked off Thursday. I say I guess because there was a Panther game on at the same time, so I didn't really pay attention. But
yeah, it started Thursday, and it went through, and blah, 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 blah. You know, the usual suspects.
The first round was hilarious because it was all quarterbacks, like in the first 3 picks. Mm-hmm. I think 7 got taken overall in the first, and a crap ton of offensive tackles. Which I know they're like every so often there's a run on them. Like you'll see 2, maybe 3 go in the first round because they're just really, stud play. I say right. Stud, fat. But it was amusing to see that. Like everybody gets amped up and they're like, yeah, we're gonna make a pick, and it's like they say. Their selection is Chester side of beef from Nebraska, and then fans go like, "Yeah, I guess okay." That's always my favorite part. They're like waiting to explode and high five everybody. Yeah, we got a guard, and you're like, wait, okay, I guess I'm not gonna buy his jersey, but so the Chicago Bears, number 1, they took Caleb Williams from USC. He was dressed a little funky, we'll just say that. Washington Commanders took Jaden Daniels from LSU. I think he was probably the better pick. I'm just going to say it. That's my pick. And then the Patriots took Drake May from North Carolina. And feels like they just swapped out quarterbacks.
Interesting.
I mean, yeah, he just feels like the guy they just chased out from Alabama that didn't really play that great. But Arizona Cardinals, they went off.
That's not in chat, right? Okay. But Rex is, so be careful.
They took Marvin Harrison Jr. He's pretty much the consensus wide receiver everybody wanted. He's already a pro. Let's just put it that way. Chargers, number 5, Joe Alt, offensive tackle, Notre Dame. Yay! I guess. And so it begins. Giants took a receiver. Tennessee Titans, offensive tackle from Alabama, J.C. Latham. Yes. Okay.
I get, I wish them all the best and everything. I understand sort of how this whole draft thing kind of works. But it's all overshadowed by the fact that there's a young man out there named Kool-Aid. I can't get past this. I just can't. And I want to be sorry for it, but I'm not. I'm not sorry for this because he is old enough to change his name. There might be some copyright infringement involved here because it is spelled the same way. So I'm just wondering.
Yeah, but I don't think you could call it copyright infringement if it's on his birth certificate.
Disney has done more for less. I'm just saying.
But I loved it when I'm sitting here scrolling through the feed.
And if he doesn't get endorsement deal from Kool-Aid, I'll be very disappointed.
But I'm going through the draft. This is round 2 now, and I'm just on Saturday, I was just scrolling through to take a look and see who's doing what, and it comes up. Round 2, pick 41. Saints select Alabama defensive back Kool-Aid McKinstry. And I'm sorry. It was like, this is a Key and Peele skit in real life. This is that very thing when they were doing, what is it, the college all-star game. And it's like, and they're all in character wearing the jerseys. Like, McKinstry is second to for the fifth. And it just goes on, and the names get more and more ridiculous, and it's more hilarious. And this is in real life. The dude's name is Kool-Aid McKinstry. I mean, please.
I mean, I'm just saying, I get this is your name, but you know my first name, and some of you do know my first name, my real first name. And it was hell for me growing up when everybody made fun of it. And admittedly, it's a beautiful name. People love it now. But when I was growing up, it was hell. I can't imagine what this man went through as a child with this name.
I think he probably had everybody. He probably made friends with no problem. You know, come to a new school. My name's Kool-Aid. No, really. He's like, no, dude, Kool-Aid. My name's Kool-Aid. It's just, okay. So that's, that works. I think he managed to make it work for him. Let's just say that. He's in the NFL now, so there you go. But how did it go for Texas A&M?
Well, 4 of them got drafted. 4 of our players got drafted. 1 in the second, 1 in the third, 1 in the fourth, and 1 in the 5th round. So we had Edrin Cooper, who was a linebacker. He went to the Packers. McKinley Jackson, who is a defensive tackle, he went to the Bengals, which does not have a really, I don't know. I don't see this working out for him. Leighton Robinson, he's a guard who went to the Patriots. That should be interesting. And Anaya Smith, wide receiver. He went to the Eagles. Eagles are not my favorite team, but I know Mike loves them. So I'll be kind of semi-rooting for the Eagles because of that. Anaya Smith had a really good year last year. So
what's the matter with Mike? I mean, come on. Why can't you pull for a cool team? But no, it's the Hurricanes. They had 3 go, and this makes for, I think they said it's the 50th consecutive year that the Hurricanes had someone drafted. 3rd longest streak in college football. Does that mean something? Top pick for us was Cameron Kitchens, safety. There was talk like during the year he might be a first rounder, and then things started to go wrong for him and sideways. Like, I guess something about his physical package. He wasn't as quick or as sharp or something like that. Like, word started to trickle out that he was going to fall, so he went 99th overall, going to the Rams. But I think he could play his way into a starting role pretty quick. He's good. This was a curious one. We were watching Saturday, and it's the deeper rounds, and so Gage is with me. Wanted to watch the game, but he's also a diehard Bills fan. So we had the draft on one television. We could see it over here to the side, and so we're watching. I think it was intermission, and we're watching the board. And he's like, "Oh, we got 2 more picks coming. 7th round, their very final pick. They take a guy out of England." Like usually you put him on the board and you see his name and it's like, went to this college, and it just said England. What in the living hell? What is this, huh? So we're watching for a bit, and then they start actually going through the process of pulling up his stuff. I guess they couldn't find it. He's a rugby player. And this guy is a freaking monster. 6'7", 310 pounds. There's like they had a still shot of him in action, running with, this guy's thighs are literal tree trunks. And he was on stage, I guess, there. He was one of the few people to show up this year. And he's like a good head and a half taller than the guy that's on stage introducing everybody. just a freak of nature. And, he's never played, but it's like you want to see this on the field. I want to see a 6'7" lineman.
This is like, I remember Necessary Roughness, where they were recruiting players from different sports in order to coalesce their football team.
Right.
Admittedly, Kathleen Ireland was the soccer player, and she was, the kicker. But I believe they had a Samoan, if I recall correctly. He was adorable. And it was the same thing with the replacements. They got a super wrestler.
Well, they had I want to say there was like 5 Samoans that might have gone in the first round this year. Like most of the tackles seemed to be Samoans. There was.
I remember when I lived in Hawaii, the Rainbow Warriors had. It was almost all of them were Samoan. They weren't Hawaiian. It was about
around the 1980s. I want to say they started going to Samoa because they breed them big there. It just happens.
Yeah.
So there's at number 11, the Jets took Olu Fashanu. And let's see, Talise Fuaga, offensive tackle, went to Oregon State. He's going to the Saints. Then after that,
it's the Ohio State. It's not Ohio State. It's the Ohio State.
Stop it. Like there's other Ohio States that could be confused with this one.
Listen, I don't understand it. I just play by the rules.
They actually tried to trademark that.
Yes, I know they did. How do you trademark a conjunction?
It's like
I don't get that at all. But I mean, I got to.
The leading article is going to be ours now. It's like, well, okay, fine. We're going to then trademark an ampersand. Nah.
Well, what's his name? Prince was the one that started it with when he changed his name to a symbol, and he actually trademarked that.
Yeah, like anybody's going to steal it. But,
no, obviously not.
Well, the part I enjoy, he said he was doing that because he was fighting the fact that he was becoming a commodity. All right, well, how about this? Don't name yourself after a noun. It would be like Hammer getting upset about it. Everybody thinks I'm a thing. Yes, you are a thing. You're Hammer. That's a thing. Okay. But then he said he wasn't going to respond to anybody unless they pronounced his new name correctly.
Wow.
I heard that and I was like, deal. You got it. But let's see. 15, there was Leiatu Latu. How about that? From UCLA. UCLA always seems to have a few of them.
Well, yeah,
of those people, I should say.
West Coast tends to recruit out of, Asia and Pan Pacific areas, so it makes sense to me.
And then this one confused me because Dallas went to Minnesota. Dallas Turner, outside linebacker. Let's see, Jared Vertsy. Troy Fautanu, offensive tackle from Washington. He went to the Steelers. I thought there was maybe one more. But yeah, the Samoans, man, they represented. I got to say it. And there was a little consternation with the Bills fans because they traded down from the first round. They had a deep pick. I think they were around 28 or 29, I want to say. They traded down, gave Kansas City the pick. Kansas City took Xavier Worthy. This guy is like speed demon par excellence. I mean, I think he set a new record for the 40 at the combine. And everybody's like, how did the Bills screw this up? But, yeah, and the funny thing is, like, everyone's like, man, how could you not? And I was thinking the same thing, though. I got to admit it. I was like, yeah, you guys kind of screwed up because you got rid of your receivers. And they just got rid of Diggs, which is cracking me up. because he was beloved for the most part. Like my crew loved Diggs when he was here, and then the last year, everybody kind of be going like, kind of tired of his diva routine. They sent him to Texas for like nothing. They got a couple draft picks. That was it. So it was kind of like an indicator of, they're sick of him. And everybody is really hyped up about the new guy they got. Keon. They just drafted him. And he's from Florida State. And the thing is, he's like so engaging. They have a like a press conference for all the draft picks and stuff like that. So Keon Coleman comes out there and he's just jammering away. He's like, "What do you guys think of my coat?" And everyone's like, "Oh, where'd you get that?" He's like, "No, Mama taught me." He's like, "You got to go in the off season. That's when you get your coat." He's like, "I went over to Macy's, got it, $70." This kid just signed a massive contract, and he's
oh my god, I love him already.
Clothes.
The dude is a thrifter. I'm in love.
And they said, "Okay, but are you going to be used to Buffalo because it gets really cold?" He's like, "I played 2 years in Michigan. I've seen cold.
I'm pretty sure he's used to it."
But he was like as casual as can be, and everybody's like, "Damn, this kid's cool." And he's like, "So are we about done? Because like right over there, I see a table with like a bunch of cookies and snacks. Is that for everybody? Can I like get in on it?" It's like, "You're the star. You can, yes."
But see, that shows that the boy was actually raised with manners. His mother was adamant about that. She told him.
That's what everybody's saying is like, there's no ego to him. He's very self-effacing and very personable and just having fun. He's like, I can't wait to play. This is going to be so great. Look at my quarterback. He's like, "You kidding me? All the pressure's on me now. Let's kick it." And the fans are just like, "Wow, Diggs who?" And that's pretty much the way to do it. So, as I'm sitting here barking at him on Thursday, it's like, "You guys just screwed the pooch." And then they pick him up, and everyone's like, "You know what? Okay." So that's what we're looking at. The Dolphins, I really have no clue anymore. They had, at the end of the last season, they had a kick-ass defense. I'm talking like star power defense. And I think 4 guys just like left. Just free agents checked. I'm out the door. Van Ginkel, he's out the door. This one's gone. Starting DP gone. It's like, what the hell happened? So we drafted Chop from Penn State. That's the boy's name, Chop. Okay. Chop Robinson, go out there and do your thing. I think you're going to have a chance. And then, the couple of guys we got remaining are hurt. I mean, my favorite, Jalen Phillips, he's coming off the heel injury, son of a bitch. It's like, geez, hopefully he comes back. We'll see. Achilles is always a fun thing to deal with, but we'll find out. Good thing it's my secondary sport because my primary is doing fantastic right now. Oh, I've got one other football news item.
What?
This concerns the Kelsey brothers. It's Taylor Swift's boyfriend.
Yes.
So Jason has retired.
Yes.
Former center of the Philadelphia Eagles. I think he's going to be in the broadcast booth this coming season. Signed on for some pregame work, but he and his brother are still doing their super popular podcast that everybody listens to and is fabulous. So these two idiots.
Seriously, what do they have that we don't? Right? Okay. Don't answer that. Go on.
Like a built-in fan base.
Yes.
No offense to Chad. I'm just saying they go and play in front of 70,000 people every week. And
yes. But to be honest, I prefer our chat members. So there's that.
Good save. And these two, they're both alums of the University of Cincinnati. So they decided to take their show on the road, go back to their alumnus, and they put on these wacky games. I don't even know what the hell they called it. The Lambone Data or some kind of games. And it's just like stupid contests. And they picked students from the campus, like half athletes and half nerds, I guess. And they had appropriate contests for both. Well, one of these contests involved 2 inflatable swimming pools that were rectangular in shape, about 6 or 7 feet long, it looked like. And this being the city of Cincinnati, they filled both of these up full of Skyline chili.
Oh, good Lord.
This is the famous dish of Cincinnati, which is chili on top of a bed of spaghetti and coated with cheddar cheese. Well, they did this in blow-up swimming pool size proportions for the sake of a scavenger hunt of sorts. What they did was take socks, don't ask me why, filled them with a variety of football trinkets, including fake Super Bowl rings, except one of the socks had Jason Kelsey's actual Super Bowl ring. So I think there was like 4 or 6 of these things stuffed in the chili, hidden somewhere for these people to find. And at the... I'm sorry, what?
No. Go on. I have questions, but I will wait until you finish.
So at the culmination of this particular contest, nobody found the sock with Jason Kelsey's Super Bowl ring, including the help.
Oh,
So
dear.
at the conclusion, they're, kind of like rooting around with snow shovels and such. Nope. Then they went and got metal detectors. And for whatever damn reason, they said like the Skyline chili has enough iron in it that it was throwing off the metal detector. So all it was doing was a constant beep as they swept it over the chili.
Okay.
Never found the sock with the Super Bowl ring in it.
I'm going to go on a hellacious assumption here. And he had that ring insured.
There was speculation to that, but his brother Travis said, I don't think an insurance company is going to settle on this because you were a dumbass.
Yeah, he was a bonehead.
Now I looked into this. There have been a couple of stories of guys losing rings. Like there was one that he had taken them off and put them on the roof of his car and forgot to retrieve them and drove off, never to be seen again. Another player recently had left his in a rental car, and it so happened his manager was the next one to get that same car and found it. Lucky enough. The craziest ass story, though, is a guy from the 1969 New York Jets. Lost his Super Bowl ring while surfing. Somebody found it at the beach 40 years later and managed to return it to him.
I have a similar story, actually. And it's funny because stories like this are not as uncommon as people think because, their names are engraved inside the rings.
Mm-hmm.
And it's an unusual ring. You're bound to recognize what it is when you see it.
Yeah, that'll happen. And I think the most elaborately adorned championship ring I saw was when the Washington Nationals won a few years ago. This stupid thing had all kinds of crap on the outside, all kinds of crap engraved on the inside as well, including an image of Baby Shark.
No, I refuse to believe this.
For some damn reason, they would play that song during the games.
Oh, my Lord.
That became a fan thing, like during the playoffs or something. So they included that. But then when they showed this ring when they were designing it, it's like, and now there's the baseball diamond, and then there's this, and then the configuration on the top, and this one it signifies. It's like, this is like a freaking decoder ring that costs $20,000 damn dollars. What the hell's going on here?
So, okay, I can't throw stones from my glass house because the Aggie ring, all of it, everything that's on an Aggie ring is part of a tradition and has symbolism attached to it. So I cannot throw any stones at this monstrosity of a ring because they're doing the same thing. So I got to give them props. They managed to fit everything that means something to that particular team in one ring. That's pretty awesome when you think about it. I mean, it's a very small area to put all of this stuff.
Oh no, it's I understand it and all that to a degree, but yeah, sometimes there is such a thing as overkill, I'm going to say.
Well, to be fair, Texas A&M only has one ring design. You don't get to choose anything. The only thing that you can choose is the finish, whether or not you want it antiqued or plain, white gold or yellow gold. And you can add like a small diamond into the shield, but that's about it. Everything else stays the same. So, and which is why, I have, there are several stories about the Aggie ring being found. Our names are engraved inside. And I remember my freshman year, it was I believe one of the classes, class of 40, was having their class reunion. And after the game, we all met at my room, which was in the oldest continuously running residence hall at Texas A&M since 1911, Leggett Hall. And it was in the basement, and it was part of the core, so it had been men who lived in there up until 1979, and then it was refurbished, and then women moved in. But this gentleman and his wife show up at my door, and that was his room, and he lived in it with two other gentlemen, and they actually had to suspend their university classes in order to enlist and go fight. All three of them ended up in the European theater, and thankfully all three of them came back. But he lost his Aggie ring when he was actually serving, and so when he came back, the Association of Former Students, we don't have alumni, we have former students. We have to be different.
Right.
But the association actually has a program whereby they would pay for half of the ring upon replacement, or the whole ring. It used to be the whole ring, but now it's half of the replacement value of the ring that you paid for. So if you lose it like 8 years down the line and price of gold has gone up, you're still paying what you paid for 8 years before. So it's actually a pretty good program. So he came back and he got his ring. And he married his sweetheart from college and everything. And he gets a call like years down the road from this gentleman who found his ring in a pawn shop in Korea. No lie. Keep in mind, he fought in the European theater, so this ring actually went everywhere. And so he told us that story because I noticed that he was wearing the Aggie ring and she had an Aggie ring on her necklace. So I made mention of the fact that she was wearing another Aggie ring. I thought that was kind of odd that she would have one because I know she didn't attend Texas A&M. At the time, it was a male-only college. So yeah, we have those. There are many stories about that, and it's because the rings that are found are so unusual or indicative of a certain period or a certain, football championship or whatever. So it's kind of cool when that happens, though.
Very well. We were talking about things going on campus, segue Latin. Holy crap. Our secondary education system in this country is going to
yeah. Good Lord.
Right now.
I mean,
I don't get it. I honestly don't. I don't understand how just a few years ago, college campuses were coming up with safe rooms because, in case you hear an opinion you don't agree with, and it could challenge you, if it makes you uncomfortable, if you get hit with anxiety, you can go to the safety room. We have beanbag chairs.
And we have coloring books for you.
And there's crayons. And if it's really severe, like if somebody uses a big word, so on Tuesday we have puppies, you can come and pet the puppies and feel better. And then file a complaint, choose your color of crayon, whichever crayon you want, and then we'll address your problems. They were doing this shit because I heard somebody, they were talking about low taxes, and I disagree with that. And I didn't come to this college to be challenged mentally. Sticks, I swear. I've been dropping that line a lot lately. I'm reaching that point. I want to just grab people by just man bun and like, would you just not up?
It is a culmination of, I mean, this was bound to happen. We have fostered this as a society, not we as in conservatives, but as the society, we have fostered children into being tyrants. They, for some weird reason, and I don't know where it started because it didn't come with Gen X or millennials, they were told that they had rights as children. And I'm like, I don't know where the hell they got that from. Because growing up, legally, children had no rights. You didn't have any rights. The only rights you had were those that were afforded by your parents.
Okay, you and I are Gen X.
Yes.
When we were being reared, and I'm talking like high school to college, anytime crap like this came up, we were pretty much guaranteed to get a 2-word response. That's life.
Yeah. Or fuck no, depending. But yes.
And then if you manage to try to combat this a little bit, you would get a 3-word response. Just deal with it. Okay, 4
That's
words. 4. Yeah, it depends on how pissed off they were. Deal with it or just deal with it.
Right. No,
I'm never good at math.
But I laugh at that commercial, the commercial for cat food. It's like, Mom, I fell. Okay. I'm bleeding. There's Band-Aids. Grab 2.
Well, see, I would appreciate that, except the mother was too occupied with the cat. That's the part that pissed me off. It's like, no, first off, pick the thing up, throw it out the window, then go deal with your child. But, that was, you're going, it's, the old George Lopez line, why are you crying? It wasn't like, can I help you? Can I figure? It's like, why are you crying? Like they're offended that you're bothering them with your crying. That's our generation. I remember one time I got hurt. We were running around the house and my dad had been like, you gotta knock that shit off or something. Somebody tripped me. I went into a trailer hitch to the point that it dug into my knee. You could see cartilage.
Oh, yeah.
And I started, I lost my shit. I'm like, oh my God. My dad's like, get in the house. It's like, I can't walk. He's like, get in. And so, I'm on one knee, dragging my leg behind me, coming inside. I'm like, now what is the issue? And then he takes a look at me. He's like, oh yeah, holy hell, that's kind of tough, isn't it? We should probably, hospital.
Oh, no. I mean, seriously, I remember on one of my trips up the mountain, we would leave. The sun was up. Okay, we're out. We didn't come home until the sun started to set. And of course, where I was at, we didn't even have street lights. So we had to be cognizant of the movement of our, nearest star. But I remember one time, my girlfriend, Frances, her sister Anna, and I, we were traipsing one of the mountains nearby, and we found a small creek, and it had a little pool. So we we stopped and we put took off our shoes and put our feet in it. It was great and everything. Drank some water, blah, 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 blah. Well, I didn't see when I got up, I slipped and ended up falling on a really jagged rock on my behind. And so it hurt. And Anna asked me, are you okay? Are you okay? Let me check. And so she checked, and it actually pierced the skin and everything. So she said, okay, we gotta get you home. So blah, 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 blah. So we started the trek back home. We got home about, I want to say about 30 minutes, 40 minutes before sunset. So in plenty of time. And my mom was upset. Not because I did this to myself, mind you, but because I was home before I was supposed to be. And then she told me, well, this is what you get. Get in the bathtub and, rub some soap on it. And back then, our soaps had lye. So, right? In Puerto Rico, the soaps had lye. We didn't have any of this Dove or, very sensitive skin crap. No. So
Yeah,
I'm like screaming and crying because it hurts so bad.
Your terminal injury is extremely inconvenient to me right now. I hope you realize what you've done.
Mom comes in and she looks at me and says, I hope you learned your lesson. Dry off. You're going to bed right now. I didn't get supper. I didn't get anything. I didn't even get let me kiss your boo-boo. There was none of that shit going on, okay? She was upset that I came home before the allotted time. Because that is her, she was a school teacher, so she was around teenagers all day. And then she had to come home with kids all the evening. So this was her allotted time for some housework and doing all the things that, without any kids underfoot. And then then I came home too early.
Yeah, it's kind of what I got. Was like I was an inconvenience, and then we're in the ER, and the doctor was like, "Well, you managed to screw up just properly too, because you should be bleeding like a son of a bitch. Except the way you hit this, you cut right into the cartilage to the point that it basically sealed the wound." Okay. Literally, I had a $50 size hole just below my knee, and all you saw was white.
That's impressive, actually. You did that just right.
It was staggeringly impressive, unless you actually felt it. But anyway, the pussy sumbitch snowflakes on today's campuses. This is the whole thing that's playing out right now. This is what drives me crazy about it. Because literally just 3 years ago, we were doing the safety room comfort.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have enough pillows? We can get you some markers or erasable pens. You tell us.
We want you to feel safe and protected.
And at that same time, our media was combing through local headlines of police blotters looking for any piece of evidence of they could call anti-Semitism.
Mm-hmm.
A couple kids crashed their bikes into the side of a building, and the scar mark kind of resembled a swastika. Anti-Semitism, Trump is causing us. In Florida, you and I saw it. They were bitching and moaning about Ron DeSantis, the outbreak of Nazis in Florida. 8 of them.
Yeah.
A year later, I saw the same group. 8 of them.
And it's
Dumb
funny
sons
how
of bitches couldn't even get enough for a softball team. And this is an outbreak. No. Right now, we have 4 times as many college campuses with hundreds of kids on it screaming, "Kill the Jews." And the press is cool with it.
And it's completely okay. Now, I'll be the first to say you're entitled, to have your opinion and to say whatever you want. But you're not protected from the consequences of it. And this is what the kids are missing. And yes, I will call them kids because they are by no means adults.
I think half of them have not even, I don't even think their testicles have descended. But they're blocking Jewish students from getting into buildings. They're saying, go back to your homeland.
They're actually literally saying you need to go back into the gas chambers. I've seen those clips. And I'm just, how did we get to this point? Did we forget never again actually meant something?
No, this is as emblematic as it gets that the media is in the tank for one party and one party alone. And we've all known this for years. I still crack
Now
up
it's
because
stark.
I remember 10 years ago when you would say, yeah, the media's pretty damn biased for the Democrats. You were kind of trending into like tinfoil hat territory. It's like, oh, come on. You're not one of those people, are you? It's like, well, there's a lot of evidence out there. It's kind of feelings. Don't even, come on. Nowadays, it's like there's no even questioning it. They are tolerating anti-Semitism in just like outbreak fashion because they can't criticize what's taking place because otherwise it'll reflect poorly on Joe Biden.
Here's what I don't understand. Or maybe I'm just, no, I do understand it. I just happen to think that it's really funny. You have, say, a conservative actually supporting Israel, a conservative congressperson saying something in support of Israel against the new intifada that they're calling for on college campuses and all that stuff. And here comes, pro-Palestinian, pro-protest supporters to, oh, this is what AIPAC gave your campaign. They're quick to list, money that was given to them by AIPAC. And I'm like, why don't you do Biden too? Because I know Biden's gotten money from AIPAC. AIPAC is they don't give money to everybody, but they do give it to people who do support Israel. And Biden has come out and said he supports Israel. He's still saying it. So why don't they attack him?
Sort of, kind of, but not really.
I know. He's straddling. He's trying to have it
the other
both
day,
ways.
he said he was kind of sick and tired of Netanyahu not listening to him and backing off.
Well, here's the thing. It's not Biden's job to tell Netanyahu how to handle this thing. We're not the ones, and this is what pisses me off. They're trying to compare this to the Vietnam activism that occurred on college campuses back in the 60s and early 70s. Here's the difference. We literally were in Vietnam. We're not in Gaza. We are not in Israel.
No. Vietnam, we had Americans dying. And most of the Americans were young kids. What they say, like the average age was 19 to 20.
Yeah. And so they made a movie and they made a song out of it. Remember? 19. Mm-hmm. And so you have, these people saying this is, like our Vietnam and blah, blah, blah. Bullshit. It's not. And yet now you have Blinken saying that we may have to send soldiers over to Gaza. I'm like, what the fuck? You can't possibly be serious. This is not our fight. Just like Ukraine and Russia is not our fight, and yet we're funding it. And
this is how backwards it is, though. The insanity of all this stuff. And again, it drives me crazy because here I am afflicted with pragmatism like I am. I just can't get over it. There's no cure. I'm just saddled with common sense. What has been the main bitch out since about November? Oh, the people of Gaza are just being tormented. They have no supplies. They have no food. They're
starving. They have no water, blah, 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 blah. And I'm going...
Okay, the UN trucked in supplies, and the first thing that happened, they were attacked by Hamas, and the supplies were taken.
Yes.
And then they tried to blame Israel. Now, we're trying to build a floating dock that's about a quarter mile out in the water because they don't have a harbor deep enough for boats. So they're trying to extend this so then they can truck in the supplies. In the process of building this for the sake of the Gaza people to shut up all the complaints, it's under construction right now. And they're being attacked by Hamas.
The excuse being given is that Hamas doesn't want any foreign force there aside from the U.S. And they said that the UN was a foreign force. And I'm going, but the UN is the one on your side.
You're trying. This is to bring supplies to the people of Gaza. This is like saying, well, we're hungry, but
I can tell you this is not going to bring any supplies to Gaza. It's going to start off that way, but Gaza's going to take it over and they're going to use it as their own shipping platform. We are giving them a port for free.
We all know this is going to happen, but what's taking place is them like saying, we're starving to death. Okay, here's some food. Oh, you brought it in plastic bags?
I'm sorry, we can eat this. This is not halal. If you're starving, you will eat whatever is available. That's
Here
actually
you go. Make it
in
halal.
But no, but it's part of the Quran, and there are exceptions to when you can eat non-halal foods. If you're starving and nothing else is there, you eat what's available. You
Yeah, I would
can
have known.
suspend halal for this.
Like, how would you forage in the woods if you had to do that? It's like, oh, there's berries here, but
What's what? It's a fucking desert. The Israelis, that they're the ones that made it into a thriving, you know,
yeah.
vibrant greenhouse, and they destroyed all of that. So, I mean, that's on them, but nobody,
I
it's so
know.
difficult.
But I'm looking at these stunted, inbred, malnourished cement heads in college that are causing all this crap going on. And the press is coddling them. Why do we need to send the police in to go and arrest protesters? They're not violating their free speech. They're arresting them because they're breaking the damn law. It's like, go Palestine. That's not getting you stuffed and cuffed. The fact that you're building a tent city on campus and pretty much vandalizing the place, as well as yelling hate crimes, that's illegal. Okay, I'm sorry. It is. That's why you're getting arrested. Then we had these, and you see the videos come out of the cops, and it's always, oh, look what the cops are doing. Well, yeah, why are they doing it? What'd you do to provoke them? Look at the cops are sprayed me with pepper spray. Oh, you mean after you attacked the police? That was the part that cracked me up. It's like, look at they're hitting us pepper spray in the eyes. Yeah, you hit him over the head, you dipshit. That's why. Did you see the one with the one female professor? She was handcuffed and being marched away. She's like, look what they're doing to me. All I did was hit one policeman in the head and very lightly at that.
I mean, isn't that illegal? That's called assault where I come from. I mean,
so you attacked a police officer and you can't figure out why you're being thrown in the back of a cruiser at the moment. Wow.
No, nothing beats the assault bananas. Nothing.
This is the stuff that's this is giving me hope and energizing me and putting a smile on my face. So these people that are calling for the destruction of a country and the eradication of a people. What campus was that at, by the way? Was it UCLA?
I believe so, yeah. But there's so many.
One individual in their encampment is allergic to bananas. Okay. I'm one of these common sense types. Maybe don't let that get out to your opponents, okay? Just like maybe filter it through. Hey, anybody got bananas? No bananas? Just checking. Cool, we're done. No, but word gets out. Somebody in there's allergic to bananas. What happens? Counter protesters show up with bananas.
I mean, you just literally gave somebody ammunition. This is why.
But this is like rendering their movement. They're coming. This is assault. This is an oppressive move. They're bringing bananas. These oppressors. It's like, you really don't have the mettle to be a protester if a piece of fruit is going to just bring down your cause. I'm sorry.
When we were growing up, nobody was allergic to gluten. Nobody was allergic to peanuts. Nobody was allergic to bananas. We had some allergies, yes, like to bee stings.
Yeah. Same with me. I didn't know a single person allergic to peanut butter until I was like in my 20s.
No, it wasn't until
and now Dunkin' Donuts can't sell peanut donuts anymore. Right. It's like, are you kidding me? Yep. Those are my second favorite after the coconut, which you can't find either because there's probably some other dipshit in West Virginia that it breaks out in hives if somebody in the neighborhood has a coconut.
I understand that there are some allergies that are triggered by IBS or Crohn's disease or stuff like that. I mean, my husband has Crohn's disease and he does have, of all things, a yeast allergy, which means no beer, no bread. Yes, you can mourn for him now. But, we have found ways that he can enjoy bread. I just have to use soda bread instead of regular bread, and I spend a lot of time baking. But that's completely different from all of these peanut allergies and banana allergies. And there's somebody who was talking about they have a sugar allergy, that there's some sugars they cannot eat. And I heard about somebody else having some kind of a weird allergy to sunflower oil. And it's just,
Okay,
it's
you know
just
what
the
then?
weirdest thing.
The onus is on you to
Yeah.
make sure you don't adjust. The whole world doesn't have to adjust to your
But that's
minuscule
what those kids
percentage.
have been taught. And I think, in a way, sometimes some people blame Gen X for it because we were the feral generation, and when we had children, we wanted to protect our children, give them what we didn't get. And I'm like, yeah, that's not going to work for me. My kids, though they're millennials, they act, two of them act more Gen X than they do millennial. They really do. They're like,
Well,
they were latchkey kids. They were.
I'll say this. I don't know any parents our age or any of the sort that went around and demanded like stores or restaurants wipe stuff off the menu because my child can't handle it.
No.
That came well after me.
That was after we had kids.
The worst you would have is like, hey, by the way, my kids, and you would ask the waiter and you would square things ahead of time and, can you just make sure? And okay, there you go. And then done. Also, you keep an EpiPen or 12 in your purse for just such an occasion. But no, this whole thing where the whole world has to make an adjustment for one person.
That has been very, and that has fostered what we're currently seeing manifesting, not just now, but in 2020, and all of these. Basically, they're throwing a tantrum. This is not a protest. This is a tantrum. A true protest, they would act. I mean, these are. And I'll wager these people really don't know what Martin Luther King managed to achieve in his lifetime with the way he managed the protest. If they had studied how he brought people together and how he handled protesting, they would have actually done a lot better than this. But no, this is not a protest. This is a tantrum. And what this is a tantrum that has been taken over by actual agitators that don't even go to the schools that are dealing with us right now.
No, I wrote about it today. I found this example that just summed everything up of what's going on. There's this one little jackass. Have you noticed I'm a little cranky tonight about this stuff?
Just a wee bit. But I like you cranky. You're fun. You're cranky.
Jack Patas is his name. And he was one of the protesters a month ago that stormed. I'm going to say stormed, but really pretty much they just like, hey, it'd be a cool idea. A couple dozen of them occupied the dean's office at Vanderbilt. Why? Because of Palestine. And they found out that this school invests in some company, and that company has a factory over there in Israel and this benefit. Some horse shit. We just want to protest and look important because everybody else is doing it. It looks so awesome. We're going to do it too. So they had the idea to go storm the dean. They had the idea, but they didn't have a plan. They brought water. And then after 8 hours, figured out, I'm getting a little peckish. What about you? You guys, you getting hungry too? Yeah, me too. We should get. This isn't catered? They didn't cater to protest? What? So they're starting to get hungry. Now, the police and everybody showed up and they got the place surrounded. Why they didn't storm the office and haul these assholes out in bracelets after like hour 2 amazes me. But we're going to be sensitive and give them their time and space and see if they'll come around. That kind of horseshit. So the police got the place surrounded, and after 8 hours, the police are getting hungry, so they ordered out.
Because they can.
And then it's not fair. The police are eating, and the students inside are starving. It's like, oh, so they didn't bring food with them. Clever. One of the girls inside was on her period. And then they all realized that they had to go to the bathroom, but the dean's office doesn't have his own bathroom. He had to go out in the hall. Well, the cops are out in the hall, and if we go to the bathroom, we'll get arrested. They had other students gathering outside chanting Let them be. Let them be. Let them be. I'm sorry. This ain't blowing in the wind, kids. You're not setting up a historical protest movement that people are going to just talk about for generations. Remember back in 24 Vanderbilt when the kids couldn't pee and they let them pee? That was just fabulous.
You have that young woman over at Columbia that is demanding that the university feed the protesters over at Hamilton Hall. And what she's saying is, well, we paid for a meal program here at the university. Yeah, that meal program, you take your fucking ID card to the dining hall, you swipe it, and then you walk in, and then you choose what you want to eat. You sit down, you eat, and then you put your tray up. That's how it works. So if you want your food, take your fucking ID, go to the dining hall. But they can't. Because that means that they would have to leave the encampment. And this is why they're demanding, well, we paid for our meal program here. Yeah, but that meal program doesn't come to you. You go to it.
You didn't pay for delivery.
And this is why this whole entire protest is just like, yes, it's not organic, as you can tell from the very uniform type of tents that they're using and the uniform type of signs that they're holding and the uniform type of keffiyehs that they're wearing and the uniform type of, chanting that they're doing. This is not organic, but it was the students who started it, not the agitators that came in afterwards that took advantage of it. But the students didn't think this through. When you're having a protest, you need to have certain things in place before you start that protest. You need to have a chain of command in place. You have to have a chain of consumables in place. You need to have your tents or whatever it is that you're going to have. You need to have your porta potties in place. You need to have all of that in place before you can start your protest. And don't ask me how I know. I just happen to know this stuff. But this is true. And this is something that I have witnessed from other protests that I have seen growing up and, in other, we all went to college. We saw, this kind of stuff all the time. We saw the LA riots. We saw all of this stuff. And so for them to start the protest without all of these things in place was very junior high of them. And that tells you the absolute mentality of these people that are running this show, that are in front of the cameras, I should say. They're not really running the show anymore, but they're in front of the cameras. And I'm like, if you wanted to occupy an area, you should have taken care of that. Hell, Occupy Wall Street should have taught you this.
Well, I love, too, there was a couple campuses where they were dismayed because they were camping out in the commons, and then the sprinklers came on. Who's oppressing us? It's called a timer.
The timer is oppressing you.
Yeah, that goes off every day at 4 a.m. when nobody else is out there, so nobody else gets wet. Oh, you didn't take that into account when you decided to camp out in the car. Oh, how about that? This is just... Then we had the campus where somebody threw a backpack full of mice to disrupt the protesters, and they said that they could tell the mice had been injected with something.
And
based
I'm
on
like,
a video of the mice running around 20 feet away from them. Oh my God, they're mice. Maybe they're vaccinated. How about that? The mice have been boosted. Everything's cool. How about that?
Against their cooties, probably. Oh my God, who knows how long these people have been without a shower. But here's the thing, like you and I discussed, they're saying it looks like they've been injected with something. It looks like they have injection points. And I'm like, you can't see that through the hair.
No.
I know, because
the only way you know it is if you're holding the tail and you're combing through the fur. It's like, I found it right there.
Yes, and the thing, like you and I discussed, whenever lab rats or lab mice are used and they're injected with anything, they usually inject them in the groin area. It's easier. You don't have to worry about a lot of hair, blah, 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 blah. unless it's something that has to do with the cranial area, in which case it's right at the nape, in the back. But you still can't see the injection point. You just can't. There's hair there. You can't see it. So for them to say this, I'm just like, why? I mean, maybe there's a dot or something of dirt. I don't know. I have no idea.
It was stupid desperation.
And the thing is, I kept watching that video looking for what they were looking at. And I'm like, yeah, I still don't see it. And I know what to look for. And I still couldn't see it.
Well, the thing that I crack up about, too, is who was it? Somebody had posted a photo from one of the encampments, God knows which one, with the tents, and they all have their little sign out there because somehow everybody's got the same beer carton to put their scrawl on. But this one said, "Welcome to the encampment. Do not enter until you speak to an authority who can verify your presence and allow you inside." Like, well, you could just pretty much cut the word welcome right off the freaking sign then, because
I thought it was supposed to be an inclusive area, a freedom area.
Welcome, you're not allowed in.
Yeah, that's pretty much what I got from it.
But I love this too. The big controversy now is at Columbia University. The most esteemed, respected school of journalism on the planet is banning journalists. No press is allowed inside the protest area at Columbia. And I'm sorry, but this is the home of the Columbia Journalism Review. This is the golden calf of journalism in college, and no press. I think my favorite, though, just to show you how nutless these eradicators of Jews are and how much they're going to fail at this. One of the protests had counter-protesters show up and said, "Could you fat asses go back to class so we could all get an education that we paid for? Go eat." And they're fat shaming us. These people are coming in with their hate crime of shaming and body shaming us. It's like, excuse me. You're calling to kill the Jews. But if somebody comes in and says, "Go eat a salad," that's a hate crime.
Oh, totally. It's
this
amazing.
This is the level of intellect we're dealing with. But I wrote about it today over at Red State. Found this nugget, and it was buried deep in an AP article. This is you may have heard of headlines where protesters are now trying to get amnesty. They don't want to get punished for their protests because it's unfair if this is on my permanent record and I can't get a job, and this is on my school record, and I don't, I know I broke like 75 laws, but can we just expunge that so I don't get punished later?
Yeah.
I'm going to just come out and say, no, dumbass. But in this piece, they referenced the Vanderbilt protest. Again, these are the idiots that went to the dean's office and didn't think to bring food or toilet paper or tampons with them. There is, by the way, actually video of one girl outside calling 911 on behalf of her friend that was menstruating in the faculty lounge.
I remember that. Again,
she only has one tampon and she's going to get toxic shock because she can't change it because there's police out there that are going to arrest her if she goes to the bathroom to change her tampon.
I had absolutely no sympathy for this woman. First of all, if you're going to be prepared, you don't take tampons. You take sanitary napkins. Because they come in a little packet that you can actually keep with you in case you need to change. Second, you don't get toxic shock from one day of wearing, or inserting a tampon. That's not the way it works. And I'm like, you did not come prepared. Yet again, I tell you, these people were not protesting right. They don't know how to protest. They don't come prepared.
Well, this is kind of my point. that they're all.
We should write a book.
The thing I love too is like, we all should just we should listen to these college students. They're so wise and so intelligent. And they're teaching us something. It's like, no, dipshit. They're in school for a reason. Okay, these are not. It's the same press corps that wants us to listen to that one Swedish Down syndrome case about what's going to happen to the planet.
You mean?
Like, I'm sorry. I've for about 10 generations have had it drilled in my head that I have to follow the science, but now I have to follow Greta Thunberg on the planetary crisis.
I actually found there was I want to say it was Newsweek Time or something. It was from 1969, and they were saying that global warming will kill off the planet by the year 2000.
Oh, yeah. And also by 2000, Florida was going to be underwater.
Yep. And New York was going to be gone. New York City was going to be completely underwater. There would be no more Statue of Liberty. Mm-hmm. Not that anybody pays attention to her now. And listen, I'll be the first to admit that the whole thing about California sinking into the ocean, was kind of attractive, but I didn't say anything.
Well, this is what I found out in that AP article. And again, it was like the last two paragraphs because they were highlighting a number of different protesters. But then they focused in on Jack Pitox from the Vanderbilt protest. He has been expelled, but it's on appeal. So currently he's still allowed to go to class, but he's been kicked out of the dorms. So, okay, we're at least halfway there. And I have a familiarity with this kid. I say kid, he's 19. He's an adult now, so I can slam him free and clear. But for years now, if you could be a professional protester in high school, this little asshole has been it. He started this crap when he was like 15. And he would go to the school board and oppose books that were banned. And he started a movement, recall the school board members of his Broward, whatever county he was in. I think it was up there in Palm Bay or something. When he got expelled, when he got arrested, and then they kicked his ass out of school, he actually said, I left the Deep South to avoid prosecution like this, only to encounter it here on the campus of Vanderbilt. Okay. You were not raised on Uncle Remus and other KKK imagery. The kid comes from a tourist community in Florida, Palm Bay. All right. And he says, he told the AP that he comes from a rural city. No, you do not. Right next door to your school is a freaking Olive Garden and a Panda Express. I could pull it up on a map. I could see it right there. You have the community airport across the street, and your high school is 5 miles from the beach. Shut the hell up with your Deep South rural upbringing. Okay, sorry. The hardest this kid probably had is like, I only had a PlayStation 2 and all my friends had PlayStation 3. I was oppressed. But this is what the bullshit he's selling to the Associated Press. So they're buying it up and printing this out. Here's the part that kills me. You got to go read my article at Red State. It cracked me up when I read this. He got a scholarship to go to Vanderbilt. Not because he was salutatory, not because he had a 4.5 GPA or anything of the sort. He got a merit scholarship for activism and community organizing.
That is incredible to me. I can't believe that exists. I mean, when we went to college, our scholarships were like merit-based. And for actual, I don't know, classes like history and science and math and
I mean, if you're going on a merit scholarship for activism, aren't you majoring in protests?
Pretty much, yes.
Gee.
But that has become a thing.
I wonder what's going to happen when that guy goes to school at your campus with that merit scholarship for activism. Maybe he's going to act like an activist, stupid son of a bitch. Oh, look what happened. So, I mean, literally, this kid, he staged walkouts in high school. He was protesting the Don't Say Gay law. He was forming some other alliance. He's gone to the White House. Joe Biden invited him to the White House because he's an up-and-coming activist. Yes, we all support you, son. And then he goes and gets a
Obama
protesting
had the
scholarship.
clock-making bomber, so, he has to, one-up him.
But literally, this is what they're bringing into college campuses. And now the colleges are dealing with this, and they can't because it's like, well, we kind of invited them.
Invited them. They fostered them. They actually groomed them to be this way. You cannot possibly tell me that we just invited them in when they actually have an activism merit scholarship for this. No. When you have a valedictorian graduating from, I think it was USC, and her minor is in resistance to genocide, there's an issue. There's a big problem. We used to joke about underwater basket weaving being, that was the joke for the easy classes.
Right.
I started.
That's what the football players took.
Yeah, but here's the thing. I took basket weaving. It's fucking hard. Okay, so that was a stupid metaphor. But the thing is, these classes, those are those are dangerous. Those are really dangerous. When you and I went to college, that was not a thing.
Well, that's what's so funny, though,
is
the classes that used to be a punchline, like, send the quarterback over there so he can pass and he can still play. It's just a garbage bullshit class. Now people are getting a master's in that.
Yeah, that's true. But, even I clashed a lot with my sociology professor all the time. But even she understood that activism was not something you taught in class. That wasn't something that was part of the curriculum. And this woman loved Che Guevara, okay? I mean, she was an activist. But she understood that that's not something that you teach in the class, because when people pay for the class, you're supposed to teach them something they can use in the world when they get a job. So activism was something that you did outside of the classroom, after school hours, in the weekends, that kind of thing. That was something that was separate from your schoolwork, separate from your curriculum.
But see, this is why I'm conflicted right now too, because as aggravating and pissed off as this is to the one side of my brain that's common sense, the other half, I look at the asininity going on and the complete meltdown that is in the future for these assholes, and hoping that is the end of this, because this is going to fail at some capacity. It's just how far are they going to go before? Because like at Columbia, they're still we're still negotiating. We're going to sit down and have words with the protest movement leaders, and see. It's like, no, get a snow shovel, get a backhoe, get something with a massive scoop, and get the freaking tents off of the commons and hump these assholes to jail. That's how you deal with this problem. Look at the University of Florida and how to deal with this. An encampment started, and who is it? The president there, is it Ben Sasse, the former Republican?
So, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, why did they give that to him? He's got no experience. It's like dumb shit. He used to be a college president before he went to Congress. I think he's got experience. So they cut a letter and they basically listed all the things they won't tolerate. Can't camp, you can't protest in this fashion, you can't aggressively call for people's death. There's like a bullet point of 20 items, and they said, violate any of these things and you're kicked out of the school for 3 years. They issued this letter and the tents started coming down in an hour. No cops, nothing else. They just said, hey.
They just said, yeah, that's not worth it. We're out.
You pull this crap, you're gone. Tomorrow. Okay. And the students read this and they were like, they seem serious. Did you see who our governor is? Okay. It's coming down. We're sorry. We'll clean up.
And, things are really, really bad. And I don't think a lot of people realize how bad things are. There was a young Jewish woman was beaten unconscious over at UCLA today. She,
It's amazing that they're tolerating this.
She was surrounded by people wearing the keffiyeh, and she was hit on the head while they stomped on her flag. She lost consciousness, and she was taken to the ER, whereupon people tried blocking those people from going to take her to the ER.
This is a peaceful protest. This is free expression. This is First Amendment.
2020 taught them that all protests, as long as they're done for the right narrative, are peaceful. No matter who gets hurt, no matter what gets burnt down, no matter what gets destroyed. That's what 2020 actually taught them. And they're taking this to a whole new level, because now it's not about destroying the economy or just being mad because one guy got, died at the hands of a police officer, which is not exactly how it happened anyway. But that's how the media sold it.
Yeah.
This is about eradicating an entire ethnic group from the planet. Something that we were told, never again. And I remember reading never again over and over when I was in school. But it's not taught like that anymore.
And
That's
we'll do it
no
too.
longer taught.
Just don't tell me to eat a salad.
That's right.
We should probably wrap this up with a nice little segue of stupid education. As I'm fond to do here on the program, I like to highlight scientific studies and intellectual investigations into the workings of our life, because I like to edify myself and expand my brain, unlike these protesters. This is a very fascinating scientific study taking place in one of our universities. How to freeze a memory. Putting worms on ice stops them from forgetting. The model organism, Caenorhabditis elegans, is quick to forget a notable smell unless it is chilled or given a particular drug like lithium. Roundworms have short memories. How in the living hell does anybody know this? But people do this. This is what people do with their time and their education. Roundworms have short memories, forgetting new information just 2 to 3 hours after learning it. But put them on ice and they don't forget. Return them to room temperature and they will.
Interesting. And again, why do we need to know this?
The worms, according to laboratory studies, will retain their memories only if they're cooled quickly. If they are allowed to acclimatize to the cold by spending the night in cool conditions, for instance, before they are trained and placed on ice, they'll forget the information as fast as usual. If they are given the drug lithium, they also hang on to their memories for longer than normal, even at room temperature.
How do they know this? What are you doing to know what a worm memories?
Okay.
Do you have any idea how big their brain is?
You sound cynical about this study.
Extremely.
Because I'm here to tell you that the research is terrific, according to one molecular biologist. Over at Northwestern University in Evanston, Illinois, they were not involved in the research, but found this to be terrific. Forming memories is an intrinsically interesting problem, but it doesn't happen in isolation. What in the living hell? Worms.
Again, this is a study that means absolutely nothing. There is nothing that you learn about this can improve the human condition, because it's about worms. It's not about humans. And you may try to connect and say, well, maybe this will help us extend our memory. And I'm like, I don't know about you, but I don't want to be a fucking ice cube.
Well, this is what I love about the conclusion here. All of this is fascinating to the extent that it gets to keep them working. They said, as for the future, this research raises interesting questions on many levels: molecular, biochemical, genetic, evolutionary, said one researcher. Why did they forget when the worms are perfectly capable of maintaining the memories longer? Is it because they're optimizing for something? So there's a reason for holding memories for this particular duration that they do. And he then says, the lab is currently investigating whether similar memory phenomena happen in other organisms that can survive cold temperatures. It will keep us busy for a long time, he says. Job security is what this all comes down to.
Okay. That's pretty much it.
Next, we're going to work on tardigrades and find out if their memory is better in the cold. This will probably keep us occupied for a good 18 months. Come back and see us then. Oh, and keep the checks coming in.
We need to find something to study and get a grant. Anyway, and on that note, since we're a little over, Brad, where can we find you?
I'm currently playing my trade on a daily basis over at townhall.com with my media column called Rift from the Headlines. Also, as I mentioned, on the front page of Red State, where I also have twice weekly podcast called Liable Sources, where I continue to rip a new asshole in the media complex of this country that desperately needs it. And you can hear more of me on this network. Thursday night, I'm going to be here with our favorite Amish individual, Ordy Packard. He and I are going to guide you through all of the vital and important entertainment information on the culture shift. Alternate Thursdays, it's me and Paul Young from ScreenRant.com, guiding you through the dark alleyways and dingy hallways of Hollywood and bad movies on disasters in the making. And, of course, every Tuesday with the ever-effervescent Aggie Regan. But if you need more of me than that, let's face it, you do. If you head over to Jitter, I am at Martini Shark. And how about yourself, Aggie? Where can people find more of your magnificence?
Well, you can find me at Aggie Regan and Aggie the Barkeep over on X. You can find me 8:30 p.m. Eastern Tuesday nights doing the Cocktail Lounge with the Everswap You. 8:30 p.m. Eastern Friday nights doing He Said, She Said with our awesome producer, Rick. Once a month, last Wednesday of every month, we do Toxic Masculinity at 8 p.m. Eastern, where the guys, G, Rick, Ordy, and Andrew get together. We host a Babe of the Month, and I bring the drinks. And Jeff and I have launched our new podcast, Spirited Books. That's at 8:30 p.m. Eastern, the second Monday of every month. But we're going to be moving that because there's some program changes coming about. So stay tuned for that.
New things afoot.
Thanks for joining us, y'all, and we hope you have a lovely evening.
And go raise a glass and look at the ceiling.